coverage you can count on continues. This is WGAL News 8 at noon.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Shapiro. Our top story, some of the investigation has wrapped up into the York building collapse that killed 2 York City firefighters. News 8's Ed Weinstock has been covering the fire since the start and joins us live from the scene with new information.
Yeah, Susan, on the other side of this fence, a crane with a demolition claw is ripping apart part of the building that burned. Now, the ATF has finished processing the scene where 2 York firefighters died in a building collapse, but the cause of the 3-alarm fire that broke out the day before is still under investigation. Now, unsafe portions of the building are being demolished. The city hopes to restore the East Side neighborhood to some level of normalcy by Monday, and that includes opening up some streets, but it's clear the deaths of the 2 York firefighters has really hurt this city and has hurt it hard.
This is unprecedented for us in recent history in York City, specifically in the fire department. There's a lot of healing that's going to happen, but the men and women of the York City Fire Department are strong.
The fence surrounding the building will remain up, but the perimeter will probably be pushed in. Meanwhile, the city says it's grateful to the people in this East Side neighborhood for all of their support during this terrible ordeal. In York, Ed Weinstock, WGAL News 8.
To Lancaster County, Elizabethtown police are looking for a hit-and-run driver. News 8's Caitlin Smith is live at the site of the crash that injured a man.
Yeah, we're here at West High Street and Market Street, and police tell us that that man, as of late last night, is still at Penn State Hershey Medical Center with serious injuries. They say he was crossing West High Street Wednesday night around 9:30 in the crosswalk when he was hit. At least one witness told police the car was a 2-door, either orange or red, and would have some damage to the hood or windshield. We talked with a man who can see the square from his window and watched as the victim was loaded into the ambulance.
But they had bandages around their head and their neck and all of that. So we sort of assumed that it was pretty bad.
Police say they are checking to see if there are any cameras that may have caught what happened. They do want to hear from anyone who may know that driver who took off. Elizabethtown police are the ones who are investigating, and we do plan to have an interview with one of those officers later today, and we'll bring you that coming up tonight on News 8. For now, I'm Caitlin Smith in Lancaster County for WGAL News 8.
Breaking news at noon, the widow of the gunman who killed 49 people at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida, has been acquitted on charges of lying to the FBI. Noor Saman was married to Omar Mateen when he attacked the Pulse nightclub. Prosecutors said she did nothing to stop him, even though she knew about Mateen's guns, his affinity for violent Muslim extremist videos, and his intention to attack a location. But defense attorneys described her as a woman with a low IQ who was abused by her husband. And you are looking live over the city of York this afternoon. A wet start to the day across the Susquehanna Valley. And is this going to last into the Easter weekend? News 8 meteorologist Matt Moore is here with more on the first look at the storm team forecast.
And Susan, the answer to that is no. It will be drying out as we go into Easter weekend, but for your Good Friday, it is a pretty showery day so far. In fact, we've got numerous showers here across the Susquehanna Valley. A cold front has now moved through, but we still do have showers running along that front. Temperatures are starting to cool down as well from the highs earlier this morning. The highs of the day have already been set. From here on out, we'll be cooling things off down through the 50s and 40s. We'll also have some heavier cells popping up southern end of York County. That just went across I-83. That will be headed into Delta. Some heavier downpour possible there, and some heavier cells down toward into Maryland as well. So again, we've got this cold front, which is now through. We do have some of these showers and those heavier downpours running right along the front. And then back behind it, we could still see some additional showers into this afternoon as the upper level energy for this cold front kicks through. We also have breezy winds now out of the northwest. Those will help to cool things off, 5 to 15, maybe even up to 20 miles per hour as we go through the day today. So breezy, a little cooler, highs around 58 degrees, but again, we'll be dropping quickly as we head through the day today, and then into tomorrow. It's mostly sunny. Looks like a nice start to Easter weekend. A little breezy and cooler, though, for Easter Sunday and those Easter egg hunts. We'll have the full forecast details and some information on possible snow next week. That's all coming up, Susan.
All right, we'll see you shortly. Thank you, Matt. And on this Good Friday, Harrisburg held its annual Walking Way of the Cross, representing Jesus Christ's crucifixion. The group stopped at 14 different places in downtown Harrisburg while holding a wooden cross. and they each read a scripture and reflected on world issues. And you're looking live at a similar event in Harrisburg, in Lancaster, where people are getting ready to do the same thing. Hispanic Catholics will participate in the Way of the Cross. It begins at San Juan Bautista Church on South Duke Street and winds through neighboring streets with 14 stops along the way. Harrisburg police say a fire that forced 6 people from their home last night appears to be accidental. The fire started around 7 o'clock on Jefferson Street, and there was heavy fire when firefighters arrived, at least on the first floor of the home. Police say 2 adults, 4 children, and a dog got out of the home safely. The family is staying with a neighbor, and the Red Cross is ready to help. Texas police are now classifying the Austin package bomber as a case of domestic terrorism. The interim police chief says the attacks that killed 2 people and injured 2 others meet the federal qualifications for that crime.
This is different from where I felt during the investigation, again, because during the investigation I was very focused on putting a stop to what was happening and was not allowing the time to really sit back and analyze the impact that it's had on our community.
Police are still searching for a motive for the bombings. Russia has tested a dangerous new missile that President Vladimir Putin claims cannot be shot down. The U.S. and Russia are closing consulates and expelling diplomats over the nerve agent attack on a former Russian spy. NBC's Lucy Kavanaugh has the latest.
In Russia this morning, the Kremlin flexing its military muscle, publishing new video test launching its newest intercontinental ballistic missile. Dubbed Satan II by NATO, it's allegedly capable of carrying up to 15 nuclear warheads and flying at supersonic speeds. Russia's President Vladimir Putin claims his latest weapon is invincible against Western defense systems, bragging this month that it could reach anywhere in the world, including the United States. This show of force comes as tensions with Russia reach new heights. The Kremlin yesterday expelling 60 American diplomats from Russia, shutting the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg. The same number of Russian diplomats kicked out of the U.S. on Monday when President Donald Trump ordered Russia's consulate in Seattle shut. The tit for tat comes after the poisoning of a former Russian spy in the English city of Salisbury. The British government has blamed Moscow for the attack, a charge the Kremlin denies. The Kremlin insists that the Russian president still hopes to mend relations with the West. We know the foreign ministry in Moscow has summoned the ambassadors from some of those European countries that have been expelled from Russia. The fallout from the poisoning of that former Russian spy continuing to unravel. Lucy Kavanaugh, NBC News, London.
A Berks County man is charged with sex trafficking a minor and dealing drugs. A federal grand jury indicted 57-year-old Willie Johnson of Kutztown for trafficking a minor in York County from September 2014 to October of 2015. He's also accused of distributing heroin in York County from January 2013 to October 2017. The start of Bill Cosby's retrial on sexual assault charges has been pushed back a week until April 9th. His attorneys plan to attack his accuser, Andrea Constant, as a greedy liar who falsely accused Cosby of sexually assaulting her in 2004 so she could sue and collect a big payout. They are in court again today, arguing that his deposition about giving quaaludes to women before sex is irrelevant to the trial. Jury selection for the trial begins Monday. A Lancaster County man was found guilty of attempted murder for slashing his infant daughter's face while kidnapping her. 37-year-old David Sleets represented himself at trial. Sleets kidnapped the 5-week-old in 2014 from a home on East Frederick Street while the child's mother was sleeping. He put the girl in a trash bag in a backpack and cut her face and neck. The girl has recovered but has permanent scars. A Lancaster County woman who crashed through this home last week is charged with DUI. Police say 52-year-old Karen Puja was drunk when she hit the home last Friday at Lidditz Road and Fruitville Pike in Penn Township. Her blood alcohol level was nearly 2 times the legal limit. Coming up on News 8 at noon, why a California Superior Court judge says your morning cup of joe needs to come with a cancer warning.
And a cold front has moved through the Susquehanna Valley, but as you can see on the radar picture, we've got some heavier downpours showing up, even a few thunderstorms down toward D.C. We'll let you know if this lasts into Easter weekend and what to expect into next week, coming up after the break.